So today we shall going to tackle a very simple but very important dashboard about banking industry. So this dashboard is specifically for a bank in India, financial institution in India. It's called Metro Bank. So Metro Bank, they wanted to launch a new credit line so that they can reach more customer and provide more services to their respective customers. So they wanted to understand the income utilization of their customer, of their existing customer, and then they can launch this new product based on the insights that will come out of the existing data. So they provided a data analyst with some sample of historical data, and then out of that data, this data analyst is required to come up with the insights and recommendation that will help this management of this bank to make a good decision. So this is generally the overview of our dashboard. So, but before we build this dashboard, we shall going to have a problem statement of the bank and the data set. We shall going to read the problem statement and then try to explore the data set of this bank institution. And then from the data set, we can be able to find or identify the facts table, the dimensional table, and from those tables we can identify the primary key and the foreign key. And then from that we can now be able to build a good data model. And then from the data model we can come up with the key metrics. After the data model, we can build now the key metrics like the average income, calculating the average income using the DAX formulas, the average spend, the income utilization, all those we shall going to build them after we've built a good data model. After that, now after building the metrics is when now we shall come and start building this utilization, this dashboard, the income utilization dashboard. But for now, let's just try to explore this simple but very important dashboard. So here we have the title, the income utilization analysis. So this is a very simple title I put here, and then beside here we have the filters. So these are the visuals that will help us to filter our data. So let's say, for example, I want to understand the people who use credit cards. So their average income is 207 and their average spending is 36.05 million. And then their income utilization, you can see it's 17.45%. The same to debit card. You can also explore the debit card, the net banking, the UPI, and so forth. And then here we also have filter for city. So you can have the Bengaluru, we can have Chennai, we can have Mumbai, and so on. And then here we have this filters for age group. So we have the age group 21 to 24, 25 to and up to 45 and above. And then we have the gender, that is the female, and female will try to understand the performance of each and every gender. And then here after the filters, we have the KPIs. So we have the average income, we have the average spend, we have the income utilization percentage, and I also specifically came up with the income utilization for each and every gender. After So these are the KPIs, the key performance indicators. So they normally give you the overview performance of the organization. For example, you can see this is the average performance of the organization. This is the average spending of the customer, and basically this is the income income utilization of the of the customer in this particular organization. And then if you want now to dig deeper, is when I will come and build these visuals here. So we have our first visual here is income, average income, and average spend by occupation. So you can see we have various occupation, their respective average income, and how they spend their average income. And then here we have income utilization by occupation. You can also see how these various occupation, customer from various occupation, they spend their income. So you can see, for example, salad IT employee, you can see they spend 51.04% of their income. So they spend 50. So this is like above average in terms of spending. If they earn 100 shilling, so that means 51 out of the 100 shilling, 51 of it they spend for their own expenses. And then we have freelancers. You can see they spend 45, and then business owner, they spend 33, and then we have government employees. These are the least people in terms of spending. They spend 29%. And then here we have the table. So in this table, we are generally trying to summarize the occupation, average income, the average spend, and income utilization, and so forth. And then here we have average spend and average income by age group. As you can see, the age group between 25 to 34, they have a good average income, followed by age group 35 to 45, and then the age group above 45, you can see they also have a decent average income, and the last one is the age group of between 21 to 24, and so forth. And then here we have the scrolling ticker. So this scrolling ticker, it shows us the income utilization of each and every occupation. So I wanted this thing to look like it's a real-time analysis. That's why I put this scrolling ticker. So it also changes depending on for example, the filter. So let's say, for example, you can see here, let's wait for the business. You can see here business, before I use filter, the income utilization is 33. But for example, if I want only to, the income utilization based on the payment type credit card, you can see it changes to, initially it was 30, before the filter it was 33, but after the filter it's 14. And if I change to debit card, it will also change to 7. If I change to net banking, it will also change to 4, and so forth. So this is generally the overview of our dashboard. So before we build that dashboard, we normally have a specific framework of how we're going to follow this project. So this is a specific framework that we shall going to follow as we do the BI project. So this is a framework that is normally used in the real world scenario. So we shall going to explore this framework from, the end to end of this project. So the first one is requirement gathering. Requirement gathering is where The data analytics team meet with the business owners, and the business owner present a problem to this analytics team. And then this analytics team find a way of how to solve this particular problem. And then after that, after you've understood this problem, you will try to explore the data of the organization and try to understand if they have the relevant data you as a data analytics team you can use to solve their particular problem. After that, this data is normally messy and it's normally not clean. So you as a data analytics team, you will do the data cleaning, make sure that everything is in the right format, and then after that you'll do what we call data modeling, build the relationship among the table. You will identify the facts table and the dimensional table, and then you will identify the primary key and the foreign key of those tables, and then you build a relationship among those tables. After that, you do the data processing, and then you calculate the metrics using the DAX formulas. After that, now you can now start building the dashboard. So you build dashboard and you do the dashboard and report development, and from that dashboard you will come up with the insights, and these insights will help us to provide necessary recommendation to the management of the bank. After that, you can provide a conclusion to the summary. So let's first of all try to understand the problem statement of this bank. So this bank, so the name of this bank is called Mitro Bank. So Mitro Bank is a financial institution headquartered in India, and they want to introduce a new line of credit card aiming to broaden its product offering and reach in the financial market. So there's a data analytics consultant called Atli Data Services. They came to know about this, and they sent a proposal to this particular bank. However, the strategy director of Mitro Bank was a bit skeptical and asked them to do a pilot project with a sample data set before they handed over this project to this particular data analytics company. So Peter Pandey is a data analyst at Link Data Services and was asked by his manager to take over this project. So his role was to analyze and provide the sample data and report key findings to the strategy team of Mitro Bank. So this analysis is expected to guide them in tailoring the credit cards to customer needs and market trends. So successful acquisition of this project depend on the Peter Pandey. Peter Pandey is a data analyst. Ability to provide actionable data-driven recommendation and impress the manager of the bank. So generally here, we have the Mitro Bank, they have a problem, and we have the consultants firm who want to help the Mitro Bank to solve this particular problem. And in this consultants firm, we have Peter Pandey, who is a data analyst. So this one is like a data analyst who've been identified to come up with this, to come up with a solution for this particular problem. So your work here now is to act like Peter Pandey to come up with this solution of this problem. Yes, so and the consultants firm and the Mitro Bank, they heavily depend on this Peter Pandey analysis and the reports. So we've understood the problem statement. Now we need to gather the business requirement. So here is the summary, the business requirement summary of this bank. So they want to understand how customers allocate their income to spending and saving to design credit card offering and that match their financial habit. The goal is to identify the segment with high spending potential and opportunity for targeted product features. The analysis should provide actionable insights to guide the product strategy, optimize the adoption, and maximize revenue. So this is generally the business requirement summary. And then, so from this business requirement, we will going to require to come up with the key performance indicator. So these are the key performance indicator summary. So we have the total spend, have average spend, average income, income utilization percentage, income utilization percentage for male and female. So there you can see the total spend. This is the definition of the total spend. Total money spent by all customers, average spend, the average money spent per customer, and all those KPI requirements. So this one, they will help us to come up with the general performance of the company. But if we want to dig deeper into the, like we want to understand the deep analysis of the company, is when I will come to the visual requirement. So here is the visual requirement where we will going to build different visuals. For example, the first one we have average spend by occupation. So this one will help us to show the spending behavior across various occupations. So basically we shall going to use a line clustered column chart for this particular visual, and then you have income utilization percentage by occupation. We are trying to understand the proportion of income being spent by each occupation, making it easy to see which occupation are utilizing more or less of their income. So we are generally trying to understand how, different occupation, how they earn and how they, from their earning, how they spend their earnings. And also here we have average income and average spend by age group. We are generally trying to identify the pattern in income utilization and spending based on the age group and so forth. So these visual requirements will help us to dig deeper in terms of understanding how different, let's say, items performing in this particular bank. So after the stakeholder presented the business problem to the data analytics team, it's now the data analytics team to explore the data that will be required to solve this particular problem. So for our project, we shall going to use two data set. We shall going to start with we shall going to use dime customer, and then we shall going to use this table here. It's called facts spend. So as you can see, facts spend, it has different columns. It has got the customer ID, column customer ID. It has column month. It has category column. It has payment type. It has spend. So you need to have a good definition of all these columns to understand them clearly, so that they'll be very useful when we are building the metrics. Also, we have this dime customer. It also contains different columns. You can see it contain customer ID. You can see it contain age group, city, occupation, gender, marital status, and average income. So once you've explored this data and you've clearly defined the column, you've understood this data, we shall now going to take this data into our Power BI. So you'll come to Power BI, you'll open your Power BI, and once you open your Power BI, this is the interface that you'll face. So you will come to Black Report, Just click on black report, and then this black report will take you to this interface. So in this interface, this is our Power BI look. So we have these three items here, or icons. So these are the three icons that you're going to use most of the time. So we have the table view, we have the report view. So report view, this is where you shall going to build the dashboard or the report. And then you have table view. Table view is where we shall going to view our table once it landed into the Power BI. And then you have model view. Model view is where we shall going to build our data model. We shall going to build connection or build relationship among the tables. So, and then here you have the visuals, different visuals where we'll do the drag and drop the required visual as we build our dashboard. And then here, so we have this space here. So this space is where our data, once it landed into the Power BI, it will be put in this area here. So let's import our data. So let's import our data. Currently our data is in Excel. It's in Excel, as you can see. So this is our data. So we want to take this data into Power BI. So for us to do that, come here, get data. So you'll see the common data source. So you'll come to more, and so that you can get all the data source. Yeah, so these are all the data source supported by Power BI. So you can see all these data source, they've been categorized into these different let's say categories. So we have the file, all the data source related to file, and then we have database, we have microfabric, we have our platform, we have Azure, we have online services, and we have the other categories. So for our case, our data is in Excel. So our data is in Excel, and we want to take our data from Excel to Power BI. So you click on Excel workbook, and then you click on connect. So once we click on connect, so we stored I stored the data in documents. So we'll try to search them. So one of the table is fact spent. So you click on the fact spent, and then you click on open. So let's allow it to load to the Power BI. Yeah, so once this data get into the Power BI, we will going to see it somewhere here. So for that, you will click on here, and then you will try to see if we are really importing the right, or if you are really importing the right data. So this is I think this is the right data. So after that, you will click on load. Yeah, so the data is loading into the Power BI. So once it arrives into the Power BI, you will going to see it in this corner or in this area. So let's allow it to load before we load the other table into the Power BI. Yeah, so it's still loading. It's still loading. The fact table is still loading. So let's give it some time before it as we wait for it to load before we import the other table, that is the dime customer table. So let's give this fact spend time to load into the Power BI. Yes, I think this one is now ready. So we expect it to be here. So let's give it time. Yeah, so our table is now in Power BI. So we can view this table. As I told you, we can view this table using the table view. So let's view it. Yeah, so this is the fact spend, and you can see it has landed in Power BI successfully. So let's go back to report view and now upload the other table. So the data table is also in Excel workbook. So click on Excel workbook. So it was Dime Customer Bank. So click on it and then come to open. Yeah, so let's also allow it to load before we proceed. Yeah, so tick here so that you can confirm the data. So this is the data that we want it to be in Power BI. So click on load. Yeah, so it's also loading into the Power BI. Yeah, so we can see it has successfully landed into, so we can also view. So no, it's a Dime customer. So you can see this is our Dime customer. Also, our Dime customer table also landed into the Power BI. So the next step is now to take these two tables or these tables into the data view so that you can build the relationship among these two tables before we start building the matrix and the data, the matrix and data visualization before doing the data visualization. So let's go. So now we are building the relationship among Dime customer table and the facts table. So first of all, if you want to build a relationship among table, you need to understand two concepts. You need to identify the facts table and the dimensional table. And then from those facts table and dimensional table, we shall going to get what we call primary key and foreign key. So for our case here, our facts table is spend is this table facts spend, and our dimensional table here is Dime customer. So we shall going to build the connection based on the common column. So for our case here, the common column is customer ID. So customer ID in dimensional table is what we call primary key, and customer ID in this table, the facts table, is what we call foreign key. So basically we are connecting the primary key, which is found in dimensional table, with the foreign key, which is found in the facts table. So since the primary key and the primary key and the foreign key, they have the same column name, you can see automatically Power BI build that relationship. So when the primary key and the foreign key, they have the same column name, Power BI it automatically build the connection or the relationship based on the primary key and foreign key having the same column name. So this we don't have to build the connection because the connection was already detected and built by the Power BI automatically. So for this, let's just go back to report view and now start building so after building the relationship or the data model, so this is what you call data model, where we are joining the facts table with the dimensional table. So after building this data model, we'll go back to report view and start building key metrics. So we're going to build things like the total the total spend, the average income, the average spend, income utilization percentage, and so on. So that's the next step after building the data model. The next step is now to come up with the key metrics. So we normally use DAX formulas to come up with these key metrics. So we shall going to use these DAX formulas to generate new column that will be required in the data visualization, and also we'll do aggregation for the value of data, and then after that is when I will start now building the data visualization. So let's start with the coming up with a new column. So if you look at this table here, dime customer, we want to categorize the customer based on the average income. We want to categorize the customer based on the average income. We want to have lower class, middle class, and the upper class customers. So for that, we're going to come up with a new column that will give us that categorization. So for that, you'll just come to, let's go back to report view, and then you'll come to the table, the dime customer, and then you'll right click, and then you'll come to new column. New column, and then after that you will now write the customer status. So we can call that column as customer status. So I'm going to write customer status. Customer status is equal. So we're going to use if function. So if dime customer average income is less 45,000, then we call it lower class. Lower class. And if the customer dime customer income is greater than or equal to 65,000, then we call above 65, we'll call this as upper class. And the average customer between 45 to 65, we'll now going to call them middle class. Middle class, and then we're going to close the bracket, and then we press enter, and then we will have our new column generated. So let's go back to table view. So you can see this is our column that has been generated. So let's go back to report view. Now we want to calculate the other metrics. So we shall going to start with the average income. So average income, we shall going to right click, and then you'll come to measure. Measure is for aggregation. New column is for coming up with a new column, writing a formula, and then to give you the new column that you want. But for measure is when we want to do data aggregation. So for that, we want to calculate the average income. So come to new measure, and then you click. So we want to calculate average income. Average income equals to, so the average income we're going to sum all the average income of individual customer. So we're going to write sum the dime customer of AVG income, and then we close with the brackets. So that's the average income, and then we're going to also calculate the average spend. So let's calculate the total spend first. So right click, new measure, and then so we are calculating total spend. Total spend equals to calculate sum So we are calculating sum of facts spent. So the column spent is found in facts table. So and then we will close the bracket and then we click enter. So we have a metric for total spending. And then so from the total spending we can calculate average spend. So right click, come to measure, and then we call it total. No, this is average spend. Average spend equals to, so this is total spend. Total spend, we divide it with the number of months. So we're going to write distinct count. So we are counting the number of month, fact spent month. Yeah, so and then we close this bracket and then so we are basically finding the average spending each and every month. So that means we will have to get the total spending and then we divide by the number of months. So this is formula for getting the number of, for counting the number of month. So by doing that, you'll get your average spend. And then, so let's also calculate total customer. Come to new measure. And then, so we are calculating total customers. Total customer equal calculate count. We are counting the number of customers. So dime customer ID, dime customer ID, and then we close. And then we have our matrix. And then we're also going to calculate average, income utilization percentage. So we're going to click on new, and then income utilization percentage equals to, so we are divide so basically this one we're going to get by dividing the average spend with the average income. So average spend, we divide it with average income, and then you put bracket, and then because we want it in percentage, you're going to activate this percentage sign here. Yeah, so let's use card and try to verify it. So income utilization percentage, yeah, so come here and activate the percentage from here. You simply click on this and then you come to activate. Yeah, so this is the income utilization percentage. So let's remove this, and then we shall going to calculate the income utilization for each gender. So right click, new measure, income utilization percentage equals to, so this one will simply have to filter only the gender. So calculate income. So we are filtering this income utilization with only gender. So let's specify the gender here. income utilization. Let's start with female. So female, and then income utilization, we are filtering it with only the dime, customer gender equals to female. Yeah, and then into bracket, and then you click. Yeah, so this is for female. Let's try to confirm it. Income utilization. So this one also you will just click and then you activate it from here. Yeah, so this is the income utilization for female. Yes, so this is income utilization for. So for male, let's just copy this one. Let's just copy and then we'll simply going to change. So right click, new measure, and then for male. Male, also here we're going to put male. Yes, so this is the income utilization for male. So let's also try to confirm it. Card, and then I think it is this one, and then let's activate the percentage. Just click on the name of the metric, and then you'll come to this percentage. Yeah, so this is the income utilization for male. And then for female, let's try for female. Let's remove this and then put for female. For female is that one, the general income utilization. That is the general income utilization. And then you have the average spend. That's the average spend. And then you have the average income. So that's the average income. And then let's try to also the total customers. It should be around 4,000. Yeah, so that's the total customer. And then you have the total spend. So now we have all the metrics in place. It's now time to build the data visualization. So after completing the metrics, now we shall going to start building the data visualization. So we shall going to start with the title, and then we go to the other visual. So let's start with the title. So title, we normally click on text box, and then it will give you this and then you will increase the font size here. We can make it 28, so that our title will be income utilization income utilization analysis. Then so you can stretch this up to here. Yeah, and then bold. We can also increase this, let's up to 32, and then we increase it, and then we can make it at the center. Can make it at the center, and then here we can change it to green. So let's make it green. Yeah, green here. Yeah, and then you'll come to effects, and then shadow, you can
change it from black to this one. So this is our title, and then now let's go to the filters. You'll come to slicer, and then you'll come to now. So the filters we will going to filter based on payment type. So let's start with payment type. So we're going to filter based on payment type, city, and age group. So let's start with payment type. Yes, so we'll tick on the payment type. Yeah, and then so let's allow it to load before we proceed to the next step. Yes, so we can change from this format to drop down. Come to slicer setting, then you change to drop down. Yeah, and then the background we can make it, we can change from white to green, from white to green. Yeah, so we don't have to change for anything. Yeah, background of the, let's do for header, the title, the slicer header. So which we're going to make it the capital P. We're going to change from small p to capital P, and then we're going to make it bold. Yeah, so that one is okay. And then values we can also change, we can also make them bold. So that is, and then the background you can see it's the background of value, you can see it's white. We want to make it red, I mean green. So we'll come to values and then background. So currently it's white, so we can change it to green. Yeah, so that one is super okay, as you can see. So this is for payment type. Then we're going to draw another slicer for the other item like city, age group, and gender. So for us to do the other item, we're simply going to use the copy and paste technique. We're going to click up copy, and then you paste. So you simply click Ctrl C, and then you click on Ctrl V. So once you do that, it will be duplicated. So for this, we're simply going to remove this payment type, and then we add the other item. So the other item is city. So as you can see, it's it. So we're going to change the slicer type, slicer header from payment type to city, because the item reflecting are for city. And then for the other item also will be age group. So we're going to copy and paste, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and then it will have the duplicate. And then so for this we're going to remove city, and then we put age group, and then you go to slicer header, and we change city to age group, and then after this, so you can see, so after this we were also going to do for gender, so we're going to Control C, Control V, and then we move this one here, and then this one we call it, we remove this and then we put gender, we remove and put gender. Yes, so you can see it's gender, so we're going to remove the, we're going to edit the header, slicer header, and then you'll come to here and then you change to gender. After that we can now arrange this item at this end. This end. And then we put it here, and then yeah, so let's just increase the height, let's increase the width. So I'll come to canvas setting, type, and then custom. So we want to increase this width, so I'm going to come and increase it. So we're increasing the width, so we can put it this one here, can put it this one here, and then we put it this one here, and then we put it this one here, and then you stretch, yeah, yes. So let's continue increasing the height. Setting, custom height, yeah, and then we yeah, so that is for, so that's for the slicers. And then we'll now do the KPIs. So KPIs, you'll come to card, you'll come to card, you'll come to card, and then so we want to start with average income, so that's the average income. So the color we're going to change it to, so first let's make it bold, and then we're going to change it to green, so that one is okay. And then we'll come to label, going to make it bold, and then we're going to make it dark black. Dark black, and then you'll come to general effects, then you come to shadow. Shadow, we're going to make it resemble like the one of title. Yeah, so and so the other card, we will also going to just use the technique of copy paste. So this one was for average income, so let's remove this and put the one for average spend, and then we copy and paste, and then we use for the one for income utilization. So you remove this and then you put income utilization, and then copy paste, and then you remove this and then you put for income utilization for female, and then you copy and then you paste, you put the income utilization for, so you remove this and then you put for male. So that's so this is KPIs. So we can decide to draw another chart here. So we're going to use what we call, so we're going to draw another chart where we're going to use the line chart. So we're going to use line chart here, line chart, and then we're going to x-axis will be occupation, and y-axis will be average income and average spend. Yeah, so we have this chart. So we can edit title. Let's start with title. We make it bold. And then we align it at the center, and then after that you'll come to this title for employee, for this occupation. We're going to remove it, so x-axis remove title, and then also make these values bold, and then we change it to dark black, and then we also remove this title, the average income and the average, that is y-axis, and then we remove the title, and then The legend, we can decide to put our legend here. So let's go to legend. So legend, we can decide to put at the center, right, top center. No, right, top. Yeah. So this is the legend, and then we're going to build to draw a shadow. So the shadow will also be same as the one for title, this color. So we'll click on that, and then we call it a chart. Yeah, so that one is for this is for the the average income I spend. So after the average income and average spend occupation, we shall going to use the same method of copy and paste. But before that, let's increase our width so that we can have more charts occupy in this area. So for that, you'll just come to here, this format, and then you'll come to canvas setting, and then so we want to increase our height, so we can click here. So we can either do this or simply type. So let me just type yes. So I've increased this height. It was somewhere here. Now I've increased it to here. So let's add the other visual. So we shall simply going to use the copy and paste technique. So we're going to copy, then we paste, and then we put the other visual here. So we shall also going to do the one for so let's just arrange this. Yeah, and then we shall also going to do the one for average income by age group. So instead of occupation, we shall going to remove that one and put age group. So you just come to visual, and so we're going to remove occupation, and then we put age group. Yeah, so we have the average income by spend, the average income and average spend by age group, and here we have the average income and average spend by occupation. After that, we shall going to draw a donut chart. Shall going to draw another donut chart. So let's just put this here. So we're going to draw a donut chart here. So we're going to write copy, just copy, and you paste. But this time round we visualizing donut chart for occupation and income utilization. So I'm going to remove this, and then we bring the income utilization. Yeah, so we have donut chart for income utilization, and then the last chart will be table. So the table, so let's copy and paste, and then we put our table. So let's put this one here, and then we put our table in this space. In that space, and then so we are drawing a table. So we're going to click table, and then the title are occupation, average income, occupation, average income, average spend, and income utilization. So we're going to add here income utilization. So this is our table. This is our table. Yeah. Yeah, so you can remove, you can take this one here. This one, and then we also put this in this format. Yeah, and we call it a so let's make it, let's just stretch it to the very end. We also stretch this to the very end. Yeah, and then so we can call this one as our dashboard. So now we can, out of this dashboard, we can now generate insights. So we're going to create insights, and then you create a recommendation. So this one you can call it income utilization, income utilization dashboard. Yeah, and then so we can, after building this dashboard, now is when now we can come up with some insights. So we can come up with some insights, and then we wind up with the recommendation. We wind up with the recommendation. Yeah, so you're going to generate insights from this dashboard, and then you based on these insights you will build the recommendation. So if you found this video helpful, kindly subscribe.